Hi guys, this is Suzanne from Under the Covers and I am doing your book tag video this week. This is actually my first book tag, so you have to bear with me. I brought notes and everything, so I am fully prepared, but yeah, you'll need to bear with me a little bit. So I've taken the idea of doing a book tag, but applying it to one book series, which is one we all love dearly, which is the Dagger Brotherhood by J.R. Ward. I know a lot of you guys really love this series as well, so I thought it'd be interesting to take a book tag and just apply it to that one series rather than across everything like I've ever read, and just see how that goes. So like I said, you need to bear with me, and also a warning that this will contain many spoilers, so if you haven't read this series yet, I recommend that you get to Amazon or your local bookshop, your library, whatever, and pick it up immediately. However, if you have read this series and you love it as much as we do, I hope you enjoy watching this. So I've chosen to do the Hamilton book tag. Look at me getting out my notes. I've chosen to do the Hamilton book tag, of which the first question is book world. Sorry, I say that really funny. You can't really hear me say it properly. So the book world you would put yourself into. So obviously that's the Dagger Brotherhood, because that is the series I've chosen to answer this tag with. So yeah, the book world that I would like to go into is the Dagger Brotherhood. Although it's a very dangerous place, although there is a good chance that you will meet a sexy vampire who will sweep you off your feet, but there's also a chance you might get murdered by their enemies as well, so it's a bit of a balancing act, that one. But yeah, I love this series, it's so good. J.R. Ward is just like this fantastic writer who manages to evoke all these emotions in me. It's one of the few series that I have booked days off work to read when a new release is out. In fact, I have done that every year since I started reading these books. That is how much I love them. I need a few days to read it and then recover from reading it, because it's always such an emotional journey. So yes, the Dagger Brotherhood world by J.R. Ward is definitely one I would love to dive into. So the second question, sorry, consulting the notes again, is underrated female character. Now I think there are actually quite a few in this series. I think us female readers especially are quite punishing upon our female characters, but a lot more forgiving with our males. So the two that I think are most underrated are Layla, who hasn't had a book yet but I believe is the forthcoming book, and Marissa, who is in the fourth book and is the mate of Butch. I'm going for Marissa. I even have a quote to back me up, guys, so just bear with me. I'm going to do the quote, which I've met makes her seem a little bit wimpy, and then I'm going to explain why I think this means that she isn't. You can let me know if you agree with me or not, but bear with me. Okay, so here's the quote. It's actually from, sorry, let me grab the book, Lover Revealed. There's the cover. It's kind of an old one, this one, because I got it way back when, but I do really love these covers actually. They're really pretty. Anyway, on with the quote. Okay. She's spent 3 centuries waiting and hoping for a male to notice her. 3 centuries trying to fit in with the Glimera. 3 centuries working desperately to be someone's sister, someone's daughter, someone's mate. All those external expectations had been the laws of physics that had governed her life, more pervasive and grounding than gravity. Except where had trying to meet them gotten her? Orphaned, unmated and shunned. So there she is. I admit, like I said, feeling sorry for herself. However, she has had quite a difficult life, although she's been brought up in kind of rich, never wanting for anything, material wise anyway. She's been shunned all her life for circumstances which are out of her control. So yeah, she hasn't had it great, but I really like that she kind of gets to a point and then picks herself back up and goes for what she wants. So first of all, she gets her man, she gets Butch, and then she starts a shelter called Safe Place, which shelters kind of abuse victims, so female vampires who have been abused by their mates and their children. So she creates a safe haven for them, because she's experienced that, of being chucked out with no place to go, and having a real threat that she might die if she doesn't have somewhere to go. However, she was just lucky, so she kind of trying to create that kind of safe place for people to go when they're in similar circumstances. So I really admire her. She's gone from kind of this quite soft, demure lady, and although she's still a lady, she's a bit tougher, and she's really made something of herself and made a difference to the society and with it which she's within. So yeah, Marissa. That is my argument for Marissa. Let me know if you feel the same in the comments below. But yeah, that she is definitely an underrated female character. Number 3, character who goes after what they want and doesn't let anything stop them. So I have chosen John Matthew. He's in Love of Mine, although he is in it from, I believe he's in it from book 2. But here he is in Love of Mine. I'm sorry, I have the UK covers for these, and Love of Mine is like one of the worst covers ever. But however, I believe the US cover is really, really pretty. So unfair. Anyway, moving on. Book cover rant later. So John Matthew. So he has kind of fallen in love with Hex really early. Like right back when he was kind of in school. With the Dagger Brotherhood and met her in a nightclub. He has always had a thing for her, and he gets his heart broken and really bad things happen to him, but he still wants her, he still likes her, and even when he thinks he doesn't have a chance, he still goes and saves her when something bad happens to her, without kind of really any expectation of having anything in return. So yeah, John Matthew, he's had a lot of knocks in his life. He hasn't had a great childhood and even an adulthood. Bad things just seem to happen around him, but he still goes after what he wants, and I'm glad he eventually catches Hex. So yeah, I mean, to be honest, all the brothers, they're all quite tenacious, but when I saw that question, John Matthew is kind of the one that popped into my mind. So that's that. Number 4, character I wish was still alive. Okay, there's quite a few choices in here. Like I said, I've put a spoiler warning on already. So from the Shadows, there's the obvious character, and then there's Wellesley, who died quite early on as well. But I am going for Darius. So Darius died in the first book. We literally meet him through a few chapters and then he blows up. However, his death is kind of what makes everything happen. His death is what gets the Dagger Brotherhood together properly. His daughter mates with his best friend, who happens to be the king of the vampires, Wrath. So his death is that crucial starting point for the whole series. However, you hear so much about Darius that I kind of wish he was still alive so that we could meet him. Sadly, however, if he hadn't died, this book series wouldn't have happened. But yeah, so Darius, yeah, I really would have liked to have met him properly. We get a few, he's in the first chapter, and then after that, no. He is reincarnated in the form of John Matthew, but he's not quite the same. John Matthew is his own distinct character, and from what you know of Darius, he was his own distinct character as well. So it would have been, yeah, Darius. He kind of interests me. So that's that. Number 5, heartbreaking end to a relationship. Well, that's kind of a really simple one. Anyone who's read the series probably knows exactly where I'm going with this, and I'm going with the Shadows. Poor Trez and Selena. This book broke my heart. I'm not saying I disagreed with what she did with it, because I don't. I don't know. She has brought some characters back right from the brink, and sometimes you're like, you're glad they got their HEA, but you're like, in real life that probably wouldn't happen. But with Selena and Trez, she kind of followed it through right to the end, and it was heartbreaking, and I was in tears, and I did feel like I needed a few days to recover, but it's a book that I won't forget, and I perversely quite enjoyed it as well. But it was heartbreaking. It was definitely heartbreaking. So if you haven't read that book yet, just be prepared. You probably know what's going to happen by now anyway, but be prepared and go in with a box of tissues. Don't read it in public, because no one wants to see you crying in public. That's why I booked a day off work, because I knew I would cry and I didn't want to be doing it in the cafe at work. So yeah, definitely the most heartbreaking. Number 6, sassiest villain. Now, unfortunately, the one thing that J.R. Ward doesn't do very well in this series is a villain. Which is unfortunate because in every other way it's perfect. She's got a bit better with it in the later books in the series, but especially in the beginning they were a bit wishy-washy. And although I'm kind of in it for the romance more than for like them fighting, it would have been nice to have a good villain to really get my hate up. However, there is a character that stands out who I really love to hate, and that is Lash. He starts off as a school bully and then kind of evolves into like one of the main villains. And oh man, I really dislike, I really hate him. So yeah, I say sassiest, he's a little bit sassy, but yeah, he is definitely the person I love to hate in this series anyway, and the one that stands out. If you read her Fallen Angels series, she has the villain in that, it's called Davina, and I believe she's crossing over into this series, which will be fantastic because she would definitely qualify as a sassy villain. She's brilliant. She's kind of complicated, and although you kind of hate her, you kind of empathise with her in some ways as well, and she's really good. So I think her coming across to the Black Dagger Brotherhood from the Fallen Angels series will definitely add something good to this series. It will definitely perk up the villain side of it. So yeah, sassiest villain. Twist I didn't see coming. This was hard because although J.R. Ward does some things that you may not expect, I can't think of any real twists that surprised me. But something that I was maybe not expecting entirely was that Vicious has a twin sister, and she kind of appears about mid-series, and she eventually gets a book in Lover Unleashed. Because Vicious's parentage is divine, so he is literally the son of their goddess. And you kind of know that early on, but you have no idea he has a sister. So when she pops up, it's quite a surprise. And I really like Pain as well, his sister. She's a warrior, but she's quite feminine. I mean, we have female warriors in Hex, but she's quite masculine, I suppose, whereas Pain isn't, and I kind of like that. But I kind of wish she'd expounded on it more, but she didn't. But yeah, I suppose Pain was a bit of a surprise. I wasn't expecting her character, but she's definitely a good addition to the Brotherhood. Sisterhood is out now as well, I suppose. So number 8 is one of the questions that I've had to adjust. So originally it was series that I marathoned. I'm going to change that to book that I marathoned instead within the Black Dagger Brotherhood series. So the book that I chose is Lover Eternal. It's book 2 and it's about Raging Mary. And man, I love this book. Once I got my claws into it, I read it so fast, so fast. This is one of the signed editions actually, because I have another copy of this book as well. See, look at me showing off. I'm sorry, but love this series. But yeah, so Lover Eternal. Raging Mary is so fantastic. Sorry, put the book down. Raging Mary is so fantastic that I just couldn't put the book down. I just wanted to see them get together, and it was kind of heartbreaking and joyous all at once. And Mary is my favourite female character in this series, and Rage is one of my favourite of the brothers. And they're so different as well, and seeing them come together, oh, it was just like, oh, I really want to read it now that I'm talking about it. It was just so good. Definitely one of the better ones in the series, although they're all fantastic. It's definitely one of my top 3, I think. So yeah, it's book 2, so you get to read it quite early on as well, so it's definitely one of the ones that draw you into the series. Okay, again, this is one that I've had to change a little bit. So it's number 9, favourite book with multiple point of views. All of the books have multiple point of views in Black Dagger Brotherhood. None of them are just told from one perspective, because you'll have the love story going on as kind of the main story, but then you'll have the whole story arc going on in the background between different characters and setting up different characters for their books as well. So it's she's really complicated the world and make it really deep and rich, and to do that she has had to use different point of views. So all of these have different POVs. However, I'm going to change this to my favourite book of the series. And the reason I chose this book is more, I think I love it, and the person in it is actually my favourite male in the whole series. But here it is, Dark Lover, the first book, and that is, I think, why I've chosen Dark Lover as my favourite, because it's the first book. It introduced me to the Black Dagger Brotherhood, and it's been such a great journey that I can't help but feel grateful that I decided to pick this up. So Dark Lover is one of my favourites. It's a great introduction into a brilliant paranormal romance series, and Raph is one of my favourite, well, he is my favourite male character, my favourite brother. Me and Angela fight about him because I decide that he's mine and she decides that he's hers, but we all know that he's mine. You know, his mate's called Bella and my middle name's Elizabeth. I don't know why that makes any difference, but it does. So anyway, moving swiftly on from that. Number 10. So this is the last question. Books that will be remembered in the future. So for this I chose Lover Awakened, which is Zadis and Bella's book, which I believe is book 3 series. And oh my gosh, this book, it is so beautiful. I love this book. I think it's one of J.R. Ward's favourites as well. You can see that she kind of poured her heart and soul into it. It tugs on your heartstrings like crazy. It's like tap dancing on there. So I think this book is the one that sticks out in people's mind, because Zadis is such a big character, and he seems so cruel, and as Fury puts it, he seems ruined. Like he could never possibly have someone, he could never love someone, he's just that fucked up. And yet in Lover Awakened it happens, and it's like this amazing journey, and I think Lover Awakened is the one that a lot of people remember with a lot of fondness, myself included. It's honestly one of the best books in the series. I think Dark Lover is my favourite because of nostalgia and because it's Raph, and it's just got me started on this journey, but Lover Awakened is kind of my favourite in another way, in the fact that the love story is so good. And it's not even just a love story, it's the story between Zadis and Fury, who is his twin, and they have their own kind of, obviously they have their relationship, and it's about that as well. And yeah, oh my god, I feel like I'm welling up talking about this, but I really love that book. So for me, I think that is the book that when people think about the Black Dagger Brotherhood, they'll probably think about Lover Awakened. Possibly The Shadows, because it's quite heartbreaking and quite recent as well, but for me, Lover Awakened is probably one of the best books in the series, hands down. So that is all the questions answered. I hope you enjoyed our Black Dagger Brotherhood themed book tag video. Please like and subscribe us and all the other social media-y things as well. And thank you very much for listening.